to the wild ones she had imagined for her doll's new dress. Her mother shook her head. "That's cruel. Your name is Estella, not Cruella." Cruella was the nickname her mother had given her when she was younger, and in the throes of the terrible twos, which were followed by the tyrannical threes. Estella's temper, when it got the best of her, could make her quite cranky and sometimes even mean. Her mother liked to remind her to keep Cruella in check, though some moments were easier than others. Sometimes, at the reminder, young Estella shook her head, or, if in a particularly pouty mood, ripped up a pattern or stomped her feet. But she always returned to give her mother a hug and a sorry. She didn't want to be cruel. She just wanted to sew. By the time she was 12 years old, Estella was a talented seamstress. While she still didn't have many friends, her mother told her every day she was special. "You can be anybody or anything you want, sweet girl," her mum said. "You aren't just black or white. You're every colour of the rainbow." And Estella believed her. Estella didn't need friends. She had her mum and her imagination. So for the most part, Estella was happy. But all that was about to change. Chapter 1. 12-year-old Estella sat astride her bicycle and stared up at the huge stone building in front of her that exuded wealth and privilege. The day she had been waiting for, well, forever, was finally here. She was going to start at a fancy private school, and while she was a little excited, she was also a lot terrified. Estella stared up at the building, absently rubbing the lining of her jacket, comforted by the feel of the fabric. She smiled. Maybe the school was like her jacket. It looked one way on the outside, but was something entirely different on the inside. She sighed. She doubted it. Kids began to stream into the courtyard seemingly from all directions, their uniforms immaculate and pressed perfectly. A row of fancy cars lined up, waiting to drop off more students. She heard shrieks of laughter as girls who hadn't seen each other over the holiday were reunited, and the deeper voices of the boys as they made their own, more reserved greetings. It all sounded like a foreign language to Estella. She turned and looked at her mother, who was perched on a bicycle beside her. The woman's greying hair seemed to be forever attempting to escape its tilting bun, and the dull smock she wore was perpetually stained. She looked nothing like the women waving goodbye to their children from the windows of their cars. Every hair on those women's heads was perfectly smooth. Their makeup was flawless, and not a button was out of place. An unfamiliar sensation washed over Estella. Looking at her mother, she was almost embarrassed. "Remember," her mother said, interrupting Estella's thoughts, "you belong here as much as anybody." Shame immediately washed over Estella. There she was, feeling self-conscious about her mother, when all her mother had done for years was scrimp and save so that Estella could go to this silly school. Taking a deep breath, Estella loosened her grip on the handlebars of her bike. She might not have gone to school with these kids before, but she wasn't going to let them bring her down, or at least she wasn't going to let her mother think they were getting to her. "Agreed," she said, her confident tone belying the doubt she was feeling. Her mum nodded. "And what do you say to Cruella when she tries to get the better of you?" Estella sighed. She hated that her mum still used that nickname for her slightly wicked side. But her mum wasn't wrong to remind her. She had to hold tight to her temper. "Thank you for coming, but you may go now," she recited dutifully. Pleased by the answer, her mum gave her a small smile. Then she looked back and forth between the big, imposing building and Estella, her eyes distant. Estella wondered where her mother's thoughts had gone. There was something haunted and deeply sad in her